It really when I glued the fuselage together, sitting on the bench, it really started to look like an airplane. Looked like a boat, a canoe. Looked like a canoe I could get in and roll around the lake. But when put them together, it started to take shape.
Hello pilots and welcome to motionrc.com. Today's video is a fun one. We were out at the Frank Tiano all-scale fly-in and I happened to have my Wellington bomber out there. It's been a side project of mine for a while, and every time I get to fly it, I really enjoy this airplane. And I wanted to take you guys up for a flight, and I had a special experience where the builder of the aircraft actually came out. We were able to talk to him for a little bit. So at the end of the flight, we're going to go interview him for just a few minutes. And I really hope you enjoy today's video. All right, take it off. Wellington. Climbing. The wind, yeah. Yeah, we might need to tighten them up a little bit. Boy, it is windy upstairs today, but she's looking good. Do a nice presentation pass. Nah. It's rather turbulent right there over all the trucks. It's plenty. I gotta be set up. I'm gonna do touch and go. Not the prettiest with that direct crosswind. Nope. Well, pilots, that was a fantastic flight of my Wellington, which you've seen on the channel before, but today is kind of a special day because I'm here with Larry Utt. He is actually the gentleman that built the Wellington bomber, and it's not too often that I get a chance to sit down with a true master class builder and talk to them. We're here at the Frank Tiano all-scale fly-in, and I wanted to sit down with him for a few minutes and talk about this aircraft and actually what it took to get the aircraft to what it is now. Well, for now, I want to have Larry tell you about the aircraft and what it actually took to get it to here. So Larry, tell him a little bit about this aircraft.
Well, I saw a picture of this airplane in a RCM&E magazine out of the UK, and I really, really liked it. And the company that makes it doesn't really want to ship it to the United States. But I had a friend that was going back and forth to England, and he brought me all the cut pieces, the plans, the turrets, the canopy, and the nacelles, and the cowling, or the cowling, and also the electric motors and the speed controls. And then the rest of it was up to me. It was a fun build, one of the only builds I've ever built of a year and a half period or so that I never got aggravated with. I just, every day I worked on it, and it was an enjoyment. And there's a lot of things that plans don't show you what to do, how to do, or even if it should be done. It's a tribute to Tony Nyhouse's one that I saw in the magazine as far as the color scheme, the decals on it, except for the pass around Betty, and I'll let Wes explain that to you. I had it for 2, maybe 3 years. I flew it at a few events. I enjoyed it, but my health got where I couldn't put it together. I couldn't pick up the pieces, and I didn't figure the health was going to get any better, so it was time to sell it. So,
Well, and that's when it came out here, and the name of this aircraft came from, it's moved through a lot of people since you actually built the aircraft. I think it went through 5 different owners, and the joke was it kept getting passed around, and that's where the pass around Betty came from. One of the neatest things that I see on this aircraft that really stands out to me, that makes it different than most you see, is when you look at the wing, there's actually a geometry or a geometrical pattern that this wing is built out of. And can you explain to us how that's actually built? Did you have to glue little boxes together to make that, or is it a full stringer that goes across the wing? And
it's a full stringer, and then the one that crosses over it, to keep from having humps, I put a straight edge down with a little sander. I engineered it just to cut halfway through, and then I do the other one to match. So they're full length, but they're all notched to fit in between.
I mean, I looked at that, and everybody that comes up and see this model just looks at the wing and goes, "Oh my gosh, that would have took forever to build that." And it's just been something that's really stood out to me for a long time. Now, the fuselage doesn't have that pattern, of course. This one's just the stringers, just straight down it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, on the inside.
Yeah, the fuselage is just sheeted, and then the stringers are put on top of the sheeting. But you have the geodetic on the stabilizer and the rudder.
And I didn't realize it earlier when we were looking at it, but you had talked about it, is the landing gear. You actually decided to build these. You made these yourself.
The struts and the bar across, but the air unit is from Daryl at Sierra, and he recommended that, and it uses a 3/4 inch cylinder because that's quite a bit of weight to pull up and push down.
And they've worked flawlessly since I've had the model. I've never had an issue with them, so worked out great, and you did a fantastic job. And the attention to detail on the aircraft is really neat too. You know, you've got your British pilot, and then he's got his cup of tea behind him, and the radio station there behind him, and it's just all in all been an amazing aircraft, and I'm so happy to be the new caretaker of the aircraft along with Papa over here, and we've really enjoyed taking it to shows and meeting people and flying, and it kind of goes with our bomber section now because we also have the B-24 over here, of course. So we've been flying bombers all weekend, and the show's been a lot of fun. And it's a pleasure to finally meet you, Larry. I really appreciate you coming out and visiting with us and seeing this now. So Larry, I want to ask you a few questions on top of the building process. Now, you said you had to import some of the parts for this airplane. You were able to get the plans, but as far as the wood, it was a lot more expensive. So explain exactly how you had to do that on this.
My friend who was going back and forth, he got all the plywood cut pieces, the formers, the ribs, all that kind of stuff, because apparently U.S. Customs are afraid if you bring balsa wood in, it's going to have bugs in it. So it's a real hassle for them to inspect everything in customs. It takes a long time. Sometimes it takes a couple of weeks before they'll release it to you. So the plywood, they don't care. It's glued together and you can bring it in. So he brought me that stuff, and the rest of the stuff I had to buy here. And there's a big empty space somewhere out where they cut down a lot of trees to get enough balsa to build this sucker.
It was a lumber yard to build this airplane. It was a whole tree. Now, they were talking a little bit about this earlier also, but you actually built the two halves of the fuselage separately and then joined them together, correct?
Yeah, it's built like on a keel, like a boat. And there's a plywood frame that runs around the whole outside, and then you attach the formers. And not criticizing the plans, but they don't give you the other side. So you had to use the old oil trick, just cover the oil, turn them over, and build the other side. And the same thing on the wing. They only give you one wing drawing.
Really?
Yeah.
So you had to make the other wing from...
Yeah, well, I just soaked the plans with oil, and you can turn it over, you can see through it, you can see the ink lines, and you can build on top of it.
Interesting.
So, and then once you get the two sides, the fuselage sides built, you leave off top piece about 2 inches wide and just glue it up with some epoxy and put lots of clamps on it to get it straight and lined up. It really, when I glued the fuselage together sitting on the bench, it really started to look like an airplane.
Right.
Looked like a boat, a canoe. Looked like a canoe I could get in and roll around the lake, but when put them together, it started to take shape. And then when the stringers started going on, and keeping them straight and spaced out the way you're supposed to, that's a lot of fun.
Well, pilots, it's been my absolute pleasure coming out here to the event and sharing this experience with you. I hope you enjoyed getting to meet Larry with us today and see an absolutely beautiful model. And until next time, whether it's air, land, or sea, you can get it right here at Motion RC. We'll see you in the next video, guys. Bye.